Hey everybody, welcome back to the Investing Education channel. So today I wanted to talk a little about Megatrends actually. So I got this idea for this topic after reading this article that I saw on Moat. So this article talks about 10 industries that haven't been this cheap in at least 5 years. And so it goes down to list some of these industries as well, and you can see them right here. But in terms of my investing decisions, I don't think in terms of just buying cheap industries. I would much prefer to buy stocks that are supported by what I call megatrends or tailwinds, basically. That goes into my idea or my concept of a margin of safety as well when I decide on, buying a particular stock. So, like I mentioned in the previous episode, I don't think of margin of safety only in terms of price. I mean, that's one aspect of it. But I think another important aspect of margin of safety is that that company must have or should have a tailwind or mega trend, that it can ride basically. And that means, sometimes you don't really pick the front runner or the best company that rides that mega trend, but if you do have a megatrend, you're likely to pick a winner. So I came up with a list of some megatrends, and I'm going to talk about these megatrends and relate them to some of my stock investments. So let's look at the account again. So the account was a bit down yesterday, but still doing pretty well for the year. So let's talk about some of these mega trends. So I think one important mega trend, and you can see reflected in my account, is that of e-commerce, e-travel, e-everything maybe, right? Everything is so about the internet nowadays. So I think that you want to pick companies that are riding this wave of the internet, and you can see that Amazon, of course, is a leader in e-commerce. But it's not just a leader in e-commerce, it's a leader in a few other megatrends as well, which I'll get to shortly. So I talked about e-commerce. Another megatrend I feel that is fast developing is that of cloud computing. I'm not a data scientist. I don't understand the precise mechanics of cloud computing, but I do know that generally data was stored on servers, physical servers. You could store this in the office, but that is fast changing. Everybody wants to upload their data now to the cloud, and the cloud basically means these companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft basically have their servers which will contain all this information for those companies. And this is definitely a mega trend. If you look at how fast AWS for Amazon is growing or Azure for Microsoft is growing, you can see that these growth rates are quite phenomenal. Another megatrend I feel is quite visible is that of digital advertising. Now, I mean, this trend has been going on for you could for a number of years. You could even say a decade or more. And I'm not sure if this trend will be so strong going forward, but I still think it's quite a strong trend. So digital advertising, basically, buying digital ads on Google or on Facebook, and now increasingly on Amazon as well. So I think that's another mega trend you want to watch out for. Another mega trend I think is that of the cashless revolution. Everything's going cashless. Basically, Visa and Master and some other stocks like PayPal and Square and so on. These companies are leading the cashless revolution, and even Alipay in China, right? Transactions are becoming more digital. It's so much more fluid, so much more easier, and makes much more sense than carrying and fumbling around with coins and notes. So I think that's another mega trend you want to watch out for. I think video streaming is also another mega trend. Netflix is leading that trend. I don't own Netflix. I think I mentioned in the previous video that I feel Netflix is very high tech levels, and I don't feel it has the kind of moat that some of these other companies have. But even Amazon is doing video streaming with Amazon Prime Video, so I'm not missing out on that mega trend. I think another mega trend you could take note of is that of smart speakers. Uh, I mean, you could combine this a little with AI as well. I think if you look at Amazon's Echo and Google's Home, I think numbers really behind the smart speakers are exploding, and almost every house has one nowadays. And even I recently got a free Google Home Mini, so you can see this quite visible trend as well. Social media, I think that's also a mega trend. I think social media is something that, I mean, it didn't really exist in its present form for that long, and once it came into this world, I think it's taken the world by storm basically. I mean, you see everyone basically nowadays has a social media account. They're posting about all their happenings and daily activities, so I'll count that as a mega trend as well. Mobile, of course, you know this is probably the underlying trend beneath a lot of these other mega trends. Everyone has a handphone nowadays, mobile computing, if you want to call it that. It's taken, everyone by storm as well, basically. And, you know, as dominant as the PC was back in the day, the mobile phone is becoming very dominant now as well. Robotics is another mega trend. I think intuitive surgical is leading basically the revolution in robotics and in making medical science more dependent on robotic technology through its Da Vinci machines. So that's another megatrend I see. And so these megatrends are very strong reasons why I own a lot of these stocks. Amazon, for example, is riding e-commerce, is riding cloud computing, is riding digital advertising, is even riding the cashless revolution, this Amazon Pay coming, and then is riding the video streaming mega trend. Of course, it also has the smart speaker. It hasn't gone into social media, but you do have those review sections and all that on the Amazon website. I would count that a little as social media. And I mean, underlying the warehouse technology are robotics as well in that sense, if you want to look at it very broadly. So Amazon ticks a lot of these boxes. Facebook, of course, rides the social media megatrend. Google rides the digital advertising megatrend. It also rides the war on cash. Also cloud computing. A little of e-commerce with Google Shopping, the smart speaker market as well. And of course mobile, Google's Android dominates mobile. There are a few other mega trends, or maybe wannabe mega trends, but I'm not so convinced yet. Marijuana, for example. I know that's becoming very popular, but is that a mega trend? I'm not so sure. How about AR or VR, augmented reality, virtual reality? Is that a mega trend? Pokemon Go kind of showed us that it was a very big trend, but it hasn't really, taken shape since Pokemon Go in a very real sense. So I think we still got to watch the space to see whether it does, develop into a full-fledged mega trend. AI, in general, I mean, I've mentioned smart speakers, but how about AI in general? I think, it's very likely to also become much more advanced, in the future than it is right now. You could say driverless technology, perhaps, is a mega trend, and Google has Waymo, so that's a possible one to watch out for as well. The gig economy, there's so many freelancers nowadays, everyone wants to work from the comfort of their home, wants to be their own boss, and wants to work flexible hours. Is that a mega trend? There's a company I'm looking at called Upwork. I mean, that could possibly ride this mega trend, and if it does indeed become a mega trend. And then, of course, there's the question of, the developed markets are slowing, and, the emerging markets are the ones that are going to emerge, basically, right? And so could that be another megatrend? And if that's the case, then you want to have more exposure to some of these countries. And I think companies like Facebook do have a lot of exposure to, those emerging markets. And even Amazon and Google and so on, some of these other big companies as well. Alibaba, for example, has exposure to the very fast growing China market as well. So, guys, I hope this video gave you a little insight into my thinking behind, margin of safety and megatrends. And I hope you continue to watch the videos and enjoy. Thank you and have a good day.